What if getting healthy was fun? Like for real fun, not just one of those things that people say. What if you could actually fall in love with the process of getting healthy or losing weight or getting stronger or having more energy or all of the above? Yep, that's what we're dishing on today, so stick with me. Welcome to the Women Rockin Midlife podcast, Soulful Wellness to Elevate Your Second Act. This is the podcast dedicated to empowering midlife women to thrive and rock their way through this transformative phase of life. Hi, I'm your hostess, Jen Kunkel. Join me as we explore this midlife thing together and I guide you on a soulful journey of holistic wellness and self-discovery, ultimately leading you to your best, most energetic, most fulfilling life. Woo, we're on episode 8, and this is the 5th and final installment of our personal core strengthening series. And this is the 3rd episode that I'm recording in a row. A little behind the scenes for you. So I'm batch recording 3 episodes right now, and I seem to be talking more than I usually have been on the prior episodes. I don't know what the final cut is going to be. I will tell you that I'm not a big fan of a lot of editing. I like to trust that what flows out of me is what you are meant to hear. So if it sounds super painful, I'll cut it out. I know sometimes I'll watch, a podcast is kind of different. It's a little more long form. I know sometimes I'll watch a YouTube video and I'll be like, oh my gosh, will you just get to the point? There is a thing called editing. Of course, that's when I, searched for something specific, like I want to know how to do this or that. Podcast, a little bit different vibe. We're hanging out a little, maybe not so intense. When you think of getting healthy and working out, the last thing you are probably thinking of is fun. And you've also probably heard people saying, oh, hey, if you make working out fun, do something you like, it becomes easier, right? That isn't even what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about the piece of the personal core strengthening system, the 12 principles of personal core strengthening that help you become almost like a different person. Like it helps you become the kind of person that loves being healthy so that you fall in love with that process. And these last 3 principles that we're talking about today are related to fun. Okay, so that's why we're talking about fun. It's about creating that fun core strength from the inside out. So that's this fun piece of the core strengthening principles. You're strengthening yourself from the inside out so that being healthy becomes easier. So it's like your inner emotional, mental, and maybe spiritual for some people parts of you that affect the external physical parts, right? All right, so today we're going to talk about these 3 principles that are kind of related to fun: adventure, your inner child, and humor. They're all tied together with this fun component, and they affect your health and well-being in numerous ways. The first being that it's all part of that holistic personal core strengthening where your inner self becomes stronger and more powerful, and that makes it easy for you to become the kind of person that is healthy, that falls in love with the process, that loves working out, that loves eating healthy food, that thrives on that. And then the other piece is where each individual component impacts all the areas of your life and also your health and well-being in specific ways. So we're going to talk about each principle, what it is, why it's important, how it's related to your, why it's important is kind of how it's related to your health, and how to strengthen it. And then we're going to end with contemplation questions, and you'll also get a companion download that you'll have access to if you choose to download it. All right, so the first principle we're going to talk about today, it's actually like 9 o'clock at night while I'm recording this. So just so you have context, and that's why I said tonight, although it's going to publish 2 Saturdays from now at 8 o'clock in the morning. And you can listen whenever. So anyway, maybe I'm getting a little loopy. That's okay, because this one is the fun one. So the first principle we're going to talk about tonight, is adventure. And when I say adventure, I'm not only talking about adventure like do fun stuff and go on adventures. I'm talking about passion, like passion for your life. Basically, doing what you love all the time or as much as possible, and experiencing even the mundane stuff as an adventure. Like, can you cultivate this attitude where you are doing the most mundane thing and somehow you make it an adventure, you make it fun, like a kid would, right? Because kids do that all the time. Here we are again, tying these principles together. They just tie together. So why is adventure important, especially when it comes to your health and your well-being? Well, if you are experiencing life as this mediocre, drudging through it, blah, 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 I don't really care, I don't have any passion for anything, what kind of life is that? Does that make you feel juiced to get out of bed in the morning? Oh, hey, I'm like sort of interested in my life. It's okay. Or if you're doing all this, oh, I have to do this and I've got to go to work. I have to get up early. I have to clean the bathroom. I have to take the kids to soccer practice. And you're going through life feeling obligated to do all these things. What is that doing to your psyche? What is that doing to your mental attitude? What kind of emotions are you experiencing most of the time? And what is that doing to your health? I'm going to if you've been listening, I think you might have an idea, right? If you're feeling really apathetic about life and that nothing is really exciting to you, then everything feels like a chore. It's heavy. You have all this heavy, mucky, weighed down energy, and you might start feeling depressed. Like, what kind of motivation are you going to have to do anything when you're going through life like that, right? So you might start feeling depressed, and not feel like doing anything at all because it doesn't excite you, and pushing yourself through can only go so far. When you're pushing all the time, that's why you start to feel overwhelmed, because there's nothing that's lighting you up. You don't have anything to look forward to. If you're working 50 weeks out of the year to take a vacation on the other two, or maybe only even one, that is a lot to get through on sheer willpower. And I don't really see most people doing that. And why would you want to? What kind of life is that anyway? Now, in the other episodes, in the last two episodes, I talked about how conditioning is like suppressing our natural healthy energy. So look at social conditioning and the expectation that we go to work for 40 plus hours a week for 50, 51 weeks out of the year to get 1 or 2 weeks of vacation. Or maybe if you've had a job for decades, you might get 3 weeks of vacation. Woohoo! Yay, you! So stoked, right? So these expectations that this is how life is supposed to be, it's like these wet clay balls being thrown down on our energy field, and they just sit there, and we kind of go, oh yeah, I guess that's normal now, right? Yeah, no, that's right. Yeah, that's how it's supposed to be. And then they harden and solidify over time, and all these different ideas, these clay balls, get thrown onto our energetic field, and they become normal to us, and they start to harden, and it becomes this shell that is suppressing our real, true, healthy energy. It's suppressing it down. This is a metaphor, by the way, if you didn't pick up on that. I'm not saying you have literal clay balls around you. And I don't know, maybe you do. Maybe it's some invisible field that is pushing your energy down. I mean, don't you feel like that sometimes? I do. I feel like there's something just suppressing our true nature sometimes. So, anyway, follow along. And if this doesn't vibe with you, this is me. This is the true me coming out, breaking out of my clay shell. All right. So, adventure, right, is the first principle we're talking about tonight. Passion for life, for activities, and even passion while you're doing the mundane. Because yeah, sometimes we need to do mundane stuff, or, if we want to live in like a clean place, maybe we need to do some cleaning. I actually enjoy cleaning sometimes. And is that natural? Not really. You can condition yourself too. Use this conditioning in your own favor to push out the clay balls in your hardened shell that's suppressing your energy. Use conditioning to condition yourself to express more joy, more passion, more whatever lights you up. So I enjoy cleaning. When I clean, I'll put on some music that I like to listen to, rock out a little bit, or sing at the top of my lungs, probably if I'm alone, because yeah. And I like there's a couple of things I like. I like the repetitive motion, and it's just sort of mindless. So my brain can be thinking about other things. It's almost meditative, really. So I like doing that. And I also like to see, like, if something was really dirty and you're you see the difference, or something's really messy and I organize it. Like, I dig that too. I love organizing. I'm like an organizing freak. Anyway, so whatever you can do to bring joy to some of the mundane things that, we do in our day-to-day life. I like to put on good music while I'm driving. Otherwise, I hate driving. I hate traffic. So I could focus on how I hate that. Or I can say, all right, let me put on my road trip Spotify playlist. Some songs I like to sing to, and just enjoy that time instead. So what can you do to add joy and passion for things that are maybe more mundane? What kind of passion do you have for your life? Have you really ever thought about that? Or are you just going through the motions? And don't feel bad about that, because most people are. Most people are in this like kind of robot way of living. Like, okay, this is what I do. This is my routine. And we're almost conditioned to crave that routine, for a routine to be the way that we want to live. That could be conditioning too. I personally crave change. I like change. I like routine too, and systems, and I also like variety. What I really like is awareness. So this all is about becoming more aware so that you can make more conscious choices, and that you're not just going around unconsciously like a robot, not being excited about life. Because honestly, this is going to sound kind of morbid. I was watching this movie the other night where this family got in a car accident, and the mom died instantly, the dad died shortly after, and the son actually died too, and the girl was in a coma. It just hit me suddenly while I was watching that movie, like, wow, your life could be over any second. You don't know. You don't know when that time is going to be. It could be 1 second from now, and you could just be done, and that's it. And we always act like we have all this time to do the next thing, and in reality, we don't know how much time we have. And it's not like I never thought of that before. It was just something about that moment hit me differently. If this was your last second of life, how would you want to be spending it? Whoa, thinking about it like that kind of just blew my mind. Think about it like that if you want to, unless that feels too morbid for you. It's true though. We don't know. We don't know when the end's going to be. And I'm not saying it in a morbid way. I'm saying it in a way to say, like, get the most juice out of life every moment that you can. I'm not saying never sleep, because you need to regenerate and all that stuff and be healthy. Take a nap if you're tired, right? And that actually brings me to the next principle, which is your inner child. Live like a child does, with that excitement of looking at things like they're brand new. Oh, because sometimes they are. I've never seen that before. It's so exciting. Like, get in touch with that part of yourself that has that everything is new curiosity, and that bold authenticity, right? Like, a child is not worried about what you think if they express what they want, and throw a tantrum if they don't get it. And I'm talking about like a baby, like, who hasn't been conditioned to chill out, and okay, maybe you don't have to have that right now, what if you could take 30 minutes and just behave like a raw child, completely no consequence. I mean, there's always consequences. You know what I mean? Maybe you don't. Right? Just with pure joy and fun and that guttural, this is what I want and I want it now, no excuses. The child has no patience. Like, I'm not going to wait. I want it now. And if I don't get it, I'm going to be upset. And when I get it, I'm going to be ecstatic and laugh and smile and be so happy. It's very in the moment, right? Then there's the flip side of the inner child where you can go for healing, okay? You maybe have had some experiences when you were younger, and this is, aside from the fun part, but it is a piece of the inner child principle, and that's where you would go for healing. If that inner child, as he or she grew up, was injured, if your inner child as she grew was traumatized, injured, wounded, hurt in whatever way, there might be some healing that needs to take place. And it's still affecting you as an adult, so you can go back and get in touch with that inner child and give that inner child what you need. Give the inner child what she needs to heal at that point in life when that whatever happened. Okay. So I'm not going to go too much into that in this episode. We're focusing more on the fun side. I wanted to mention that because that is a piece of it, and I'll talk about it later in another episode when I'm focusing purely on the inner child, which I'll do in the future. So what can you do to tap into that raw, like primal inner child part of you that just wants what she wants, right? And then the third principle that we're talking about today is humor. Why humor? Why is humor important? Oh my gosh. People take life so seriously, and it seems like that's even getting to be more the case. Humor. And I don't mean self-deprecating humor. I don't mean humor that harms other people, that insults other people. I mean, lighten up and don't take life so seriously. Have a sense of humor. I have inherited snarky sarcasm probably from my dad. So it's kind of a dry humor. I don't know if I inherited that part. It's the sarcasm I inherited. My humor tends to be a little bit dry, and a lot of times people don't realize I'm joking. They think I'm being serious, and I have to explain it. And I actually developed this habit of doing like a little giggle sometimes when I'm joking, even though that isn't how I would naturally say it. I do that so people realize I'm joking, because a lot of times they don't. And I'm going to chalk that up to people taking things way too seriously. I know some things really are serious. Even then, though, I have definitely taken things too seriously. And when I get in that mode, in that frame, in that space, it isn't that pleasant, It's like a heavy feeling, right? Your energy gets really heavy and it feels tiring and draining, taking things too seriously. As soon as you add some humor, you laugh, you lighten up. It's literally called lighten up because it lightens your energy. It makes it feel lighter, not so heavy. And that is always going to be better for your health and your wellness and your mental and emotional well-being, feeling lighter. So add a little humor, be goofy sometimes. And a lot of times people are so worried about how they look that they're not able to lighten up in a situation. There's a lot going on there, actually. You might be hung up on your ego and, well, it's all ego, worrying about how you look, worrying about what other people think or what they're going to say, or if they're going to think you're being silly and not take you seriously. So what? That's the whole point, is don't take life so seriously. So don't expect other people to take you so seriously. Get it? So when you add some humor into your life and you focus on humor as a core principle and you want to strengthen that, integrate it into everything, imagine, and I don't mean you're joking about everything. You're not like the class clown or something and everything's a joke and ultimately people are not laughing with you but laughing at you. I'm not talking about taking it that far. I'm talking about simply not taking things so seriously that you're not having fun, right? That you're not having fun and joy in your life. I went to get an oil change with my boyfriend, and so it was like one of those things where you pull in and now you don't even get out of the car, which was kind of fine with me. I was happy not to have to get out. So there was a girl, in the bay where we drove in doing all the questions, right? She's asking him all these questions that's on the computer, and she's being very serious and very systematic about it, and like, very down to business, and like like, okay, what's this part? I need what's the mileage, and she almost wasn't even speaking in full sentences. It was just like going through this list. And then at the end, he kind of cracked a little joke to her when he was paying and stuff. And you could see just this tiny little smile, almost like she was trying not to smile. And I was like, oh man, I don't know what the deal was, but it was cute that she smiled, but she was sort of like trying not to smile. So anyway, yeah, go ahead and smile. Smiles are great. Smiles are fun and they're contagious. So smile, lighten up. We're not robots. We're human beings. And we already are at risk of having jobs taken over by robots. So let's not make it so easy, right? Y'all have seen Terminator, haven't you? I know, not everybody thinks that's funny. The AI developers don't think that's funny. I use some AI sometimes, mostly for inspiration, which sounds so weird. It's funny because sometimes I've asked like ChatGPT some things and I get some really good answers. And once or twice, had some pretty freaky, weird, completely unrelated responses. So I'm not totally sold that this is a good idea yet. I'm saying that partially in fun and partially, who knows? Anyway, no, I love AI. Just in case they take over, I want to be on their good side. All right, so contemplation questions for this episode. And you'll get a download. The companion download will be available in the show notes and on the website episode page. All right, so adventure. This is the fun one. 2 parts to this one. We're going to talk about passion, like your purpose, right? So brainstorm all the things that you're passionate about, whether it did I say passionate? Okay. Brainstorm all the things you are passionate about. And whether it's like a work related kind of thing or fun, anything you love. Like I would write down things like gardening. I've been raising quail and I'm actually kind of loving that. So I would probably put something like anything self-sustainability, like growing and raising food, because I also want to learn about beekeeping and I like gardening. I like cooking, healthy cooking when I'm inspired to do it, creating recipes, sort of. I don't write anything down. I just get inspiration. So I like doing that kind of stuff. Camping, nature. I'm passionate about nature. I'm passionate about helping people. I'm passionate about understanding what makes people tick and how we can be healthier and have more energy and have better energy, like those kind of things. I'm passionate about breaking through social conditioning. I'm passionate about meditating. So it doesn't matter if it's something that's fun or it's something that's work related, or maybe it's something where the lines blur. I have a lot of blurry lines with mine because it's all, kind of related. Maybe you're passionate about skiing or snowboarding or some kind of sport. Write all those things down. And you're just really brainstorming a list, and it's just to get your ideas flowing, right? And then make a list. This is unrelated or maybe slightly related. Make a bucket list or an adventure list of activities that you want to do, things that you want to learn maybe, and just list those out. And then for your inner child, no writing here. Just go play for 30 minutes. Act like a kid. Be a kid. Whatever that looks like. And then humor. So how are you going to incorporate humor into your life? I'm going to give you a specific exercise here. When you find yourself taking life too seriously or overly seriously and you want to lighten it up, I want you to come up with an anchor, okay? That's going to sort of shift you, snap you out of taking life so seriously and to lighten up. So the anchor is going to be some funny or goofy thing that you do or say, anything. Maybe you just make a goofy face, stick your tongue out sideways, whatever. Or maybe say a funny word. I used to bowl with my brother and some other people and a friend of my stepdad's. And when I didn't bowl very well, so this happened a lot. When I botched a shot, I would turn around and say the F word. And he was like, "Oh, don't say that. Say something else." And I was like, "What do you want me to say? Razzleberry?" So I did, and that was a joke. Like that was meaning the same thing. So I would botch a shot and turn around and say razzleberry. So maybe you come up with something like that. Say razzleberry and snap you out of taking life so seriously. I'm not sure you can say razzleberry with a straight face. Yeah. All right. So those are your contemplation questions and your action. Remember, don't skip that one. Go play as a child for like 20, 30 minutes. Maybe you have a niece or nephew or grandchild that you can play with and really go full out. They'll love it, right? Okay. Let me know how that goes. Send me a message. You can send me a voice message. I think if you I think if you go to the Spotify for podcasters page, you can send me a voice message. All right. And then if you enjoyed this episode and you got value from it, please spread the love. Pass it on to someone who would also enjoy it and get value from it. Don't be greedy. Share this, right? And then download your companion your companion download that you can find in the show notes. All right, thanks for joining me. I'm looking forward to the next week. It'll be a surprise. Maybe we'll have a guest. Maybe it'll be another 1 or 2 solo episodes before we get a guest on. 'Cause I will be actually pretty much traveling for the next 3 weeks. But that'll be over by the time this episode gets published. All right, thanks for joining me. Much love, and I will see you next time.